Essential music from the 80s and today. The Big Mix. 97.4.
Newsline at 5, the headlines. Queen speaks of peace hopes during trip to province. Clinton to meet Adams on fundraising visit. Union asks Dole-threatened workers to rethink shift snub. And man sues after house attacked by golf balls. At the news desk, Mark Simpson, good evening. The Queen has spoken of her hopes for a future free from violence while on her first trip here since the Loyalist and IRA ceasefires. Big crowds have turned out to catch a glimpse of Her Majesty, accompanied by the Duke of Edinburgh. We've reports from Belfast, Armagh and Hillsborough Castle, where the Queen is currently rounding off her day of engagements. Earlier, she paid tribute to the people of the province.
For many difficult years, the people of Northern Ireland have shown courage and compassion of an extraordinary kind. Today, as they begin to look towards a more peaceful future, Armagh, with its two great cathedrals standing so close together, presents a powerful symbol of the strength, spirit and hopes of people across Northern Ireland. I hope and pray that the future for the city of Armagh and of Northern Ireland as a whole may be one of peace and prosperity for all its citizens.
The Queen began her day in Belfast with the official opening of the Cross Harbour Road and Rail Bridge. Julian O'Neill was there.
A royal fanfare from members of the City of Belfast Youth Orchestra to greet the Queen on Lagan Bridge at the start of her 8th visit here. Secretary of State Sir Patrick Mayhew, in front of around 1,000 onlookers, extended an official welcome.
We are greatly honoured and delighted that with His Royal Highness Prince Philip, you have come to Northern Ireland today.
The Queen was clapped and cheered by children from 4 city schools, stopping to talk to many smiling pupils like those from Seaview Primary.
Oh, she's a very nice woman. She said, did you get the morning off school? I just said, welcome to Northern Ireland and I hope you enjoy your visit in Belfast. I thought she was very nice and she was very nice just. Well, I thought she was very well dressed.
Her Majesty made an impression on their teacher, Alan Elder, as well.
I think the people of Northern Ireland are long overdue a visit from Her Majesty the Queen, and we're all delighted to see her here this morning.
For Hank Pryor and many of his fellow ex-US servicemen, an unexpected chat with the Queen was the highlight of their first trip back to Belfast in 50 years.
We knew she was coming, we'd heard she was coming, but we never expected for her to stop and talk to us. That was really something that was very, very sweet of her.
As well as unveiling plaques on the new £89 million Cross Harbour Road and Rail link, the Queen and Prince Philip took a short train ride to view Central Station.
In Armagh, there was a heavy security presence as the Queen's helicopter landed at the local council offices. She was here to give Armagh back its status as a city. In an historic ceremony in front of local dignitaries, including Church of Ireland Archbishop Robin Eames and Catholic Primate Cathal Daly, the Queen signed charter papers making Armagh a city once again. After a VIP lunch, the Queen officially opened Armagh High School, where because of a delay in her schedule, hundreds of school children had stood for almost 45 minutes in pouring rain awaiting her arrival. Archbishop Eames says today's visit was very important for the city.
I think it was a historic day, and I think a day that many people feel that we have different traditions, different aspirations, but today it was a marvellous day of joy.
Council Chairman Jim Nicholson, who now assumes the title of Mayor, said today was the most significant date in Armagh's illustrious history. Trevor Burney, Armagh.
Here in a rather wet Hillsborough, the distinctive red helicopter touched down half an hour ago. The historic castle is where this, like so many previous royal visits, will end. The Queen has just presented an OBE, 2 MBEs and 2 Queen's Police medals. 4 local BB boys also received an award she couldn't present recently in England due to flu. Next door, the Duke of Edinburgh met winners of his prestigious Youth Award. The day has so far passed incident-free and security is perhaps relaxing a little. For the first time in years, the public have been allowed onto the driveway here. Hundreds are hoping to catch a fleeting glimpse of Her Majesty. She'll shortly make her way back to the helipad and end what's been a right royal day. David Blevins in Hillsborough.
Ian Paisley has reacted with anger over the Lagan Bridge ceremony in Belfast. He's unhappy the province's 3 MEPs weren't among dignitaries, despite the EC's massive funding of the project, and the fact school children weren't given union flags to wave. Other news now, and Sinn Féin President Gerry Adams has been invited to attend a White House reception during his forthcoming trip to the United States. And President Bill Clinton has also cleared the way for the former West Belfast MP to fundraise during his trip. The move is a blow to British government efforts to have restrictions placed on Mr Adams during the visit. Eamon Malley reports.
The fact that Mr Adams has been invited to the White House on St Patrick's Day is likely to lead to a handshake with President Clinton. On this, Sir Patrick Mayhew said in America it would be dismaying for about 50 million people to see Mr Adams shaking hands with Mr Clinton. There is a connection today between Gerry Adams' welcome for the ending of the government ministerial ban on contact with Sinn Féin and this development in America. This afternoon, Gerry Adams said what is important is that the ministerial ban is going on contact with his party.
What we have always said is we don't accept preconditions being placed upon us or on any pretext being used to undermine the integrity of our electorate.
The Sinn Féin president flies to Washington on Saturday and he will open a Sinn Féin office there on Tuesday.
Union officials have called on the staff at the United Technology plant in Derry's Cregan area to reverse their decision not to work shifts. Last week the workforce voted against implementing shift work in the plant, and now the loss of 500 jobs appears imminent. George Jackson reports.
In an unprecedented statement, the District Committee said their unanimous recommendation to the workforce of United Technology had been to accept the introduction of shifts so as to maintain jobs in the plant at their current level of just over 1,000. Last week, the workforce rejected the recommendation by 99 votes, and the loss of 500 jobs now seems inevitable. The United Technology contract to manufacture parts for Ford will now go to one of its other European plants. The District Committee said while they completely accept the democratic decision of the workforce, it would give them no satisfaction in the future to say, "We told you so." George Jackson, Londonderry.
Belique Potteries withdrawn what had been an accepted bid to take over the troubled Dungannon-based Tyrone Crystal Company. The Crystal Company's owners, Dungannon and District Cooperative, say the move is regrettable but no surprise. It claims Belique wanted to cut the payroll in half. Almost 24 full and part-time jobs will be created with the opening of a new Kentucky Fried Chicken outside Macrofelt from Monday. The fast food outlet is the 28th to be set up by the chain in Northern Ireland. Judgment's been reserved at the Crown Court in the trial of former North Down DUP councillor Billy Baxter. 59-year-old Baxter, from Troutbeck Avenue in Bangor, who's on continuing bail, denies blackmailing Dublin-born Robert Armstrong and soliciting and receiving money from him for the UFF. A man's recovering after being stabbed at a Belfast city centre bar. The incident happened last night in Kelly Cellars in Bank Square. Police have appealed for witnesses. A 43-year-old man accused of repeatedly raping his teenage daughter and involving her in other sex acts was insane, according to his lawyer. The accused, who can't be named, denies 19 specimen sex charges involving rape, unlawful carnal knowledge and indecency committed over a 6-year period. A 38-year-old lesbian mother of 4 has begun a legal fight in the High Court over the loss of her family allowance. The woman, who's from County Down but isn't being named, brought an application for a judicial review aimed at reversing a DHSS decision to give the money to her ex-husband, who has custody of their children. Opposition to NIE's proposed electricity interconnector with Scotland moved to the High Court today. As Bob Huggins reports, an Australian mining company has applied for judicial review of a ruling made at the Larne Planning Inquiry.
Meekatharra Limited wants Commissioner John Mork's decision not to accept evidence relating to economic objections to the interconnector overturned. Instead, it wants the inquiry to take account of its lignite deposits near Ballymoney. It claims to have spent $7 million on prospecting and says the lignite deposits are more than sufficient to fuel a power station producing 500 megawatts for 30 years. Michael Lavery, QC for the company, argued that using lignite instead of oil would mean cheaper power, less dependency on one source of fuel and more competition. The hearing's expected to last 2 days.
National news, and John Major's been heckled in the Commons over the death of a man who had to be flown from Kent to Leeds for emergency surgery. The Prime Minister said Malcolm Murray was sent there because of the specialised help they could offer.
Mr Murray required a very highly specialised form of treatment where Leeds were particularly in a position to help. A very highly specialised form of treatment, and that was the medical decision that was taken.
The Royal Air Force is to buy 22 British-built Westland helicopters and 14 American Chinooks. Defence Secretary Malcolm Rifkin says the order will help secure the future of the UK helicopter industry. An Arab terrorist has been jailed for 7 years for taking part in a bomb attack in London. Mohammed Bakabali pleaded guilty at the Old Bailey to intent to cause explosions at the Syrian embassy and the Swiss Centre in Leicester Square. Sega and Nintendo have been criticised for charging too much for games. A report by the Monopolies and Mergers Commission says software prices are excessive in comparison with the cost of hardware, and the companies are operating against the public interest. And finally, a pensioner whose family suffered years of misery in the shadow of Belfast's Fort William Golf Club has been awarded out-of-court damages of more than £12,000. 67-year-old David Ferrin from Collington Gardens, close to the course, sued the club for damage caused to his home and garage by badly aimed balls. Now, in the interests of good community relations, the club has agreed to reposition its 7th tee, while Mr Ferrin considers what to do with the 2,500 balls he's collected over the years.
I've had to put in new ceilings. Practically all the windows in the front of my house have been smashed time and time again. Side of the house. Greenhouse, I had to take it down altogether. There's many a time I had, one just broke above my head. A golf ball breaking windows just above my head and glass down the back of my neck.
And that's our newsline on this Thursday evening. It's just gone 5:10.
97.4